Welcome to Fridays for Fundraising. In the next 5 minutes, you're going to learn one step you can take before you leave the office today that can move fundraising forward for your small nonprofit. Hi, I'm Kelly, founder of From Scratch Fundraising, where we help nonprofit leaders raise more dough without burning anything. Every Friday, I'm here to serve up one bite-sized fundraising assignment that you can finish in about an hour. Think of it as your weekly recipe for sustainable fundraising success. No overwhelm, just actionable steps that actually move the needle. Welcome back. In the first week of this month, we talked about why people are going to want to sign up for your email list, how you're going to give them compelling reasons to sign up for your organization's email list. Last week, we talked about the actual lead capture form. How are you going to get people to sign up for your list, and how are you going to tag them so you can segment them and talk to them and give them the things that you're promising to deliver? This week, I want to talk about where we're building that list. If you have a donor CRM or donor database, something like Neon One, Bloomerang, GiveButter, DonorBox, these are some of my favorite platforms, they have integrated ways to email your audience. There is no reason to have another email marketing platform if you are using one of these platforms. Build there. Because the more tech platforms you need to integrate, the harder it is to do that. The harder it is to make sure you're emailing your total audience, that people haven't unsubscribed in one place and they're still on your list somewhere else. So grow where you're planted. Neon One in particular can manage volunteers, grants, major donors, membership programs, all of those things. So I'm always telling my clients who use Neon One, build your email marketing there. It doesn't have as many email marketing fancy features as a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, but the most critical thing is it's 100% integrated to where you're building up all of your other data about these people's interactions with your organization. And so it makes your ability to slice, dice, segment, target your audience so incredibly robust. So once again, I'm always loving on Neon One because it's such a great platform to use to really reduce the number of random tech platforms that you're using for your organization. However, if you're in a more simple donor database, but your email list isn't just donors, it's clients, corporate partners, nonprofit partners. There are maybe other people that you want to make sure you're not soliciting, so you don't want them in a donor database. Then you might want to look into a third-party option for managing your email list. Most commonly, I see nonprofits opting for MailChimp and Constant Contact. They're industry leaders. They've been industry leaders for decades. They have a lot of options. I believe both have nonprofit discounts. And so those are the ones I see most commonly. But there are other options out there. There's Kit, which is formerly called ConvertKit, Flowdesk, ActiveCampaign. There are a lot out there right now with really different features. So really what you need to do is look at the options and pick the one that has the features that match that email strategy that we talked about last week. What are you going to do? How are you going to deliver your emails? Pick the one that's going to be the least cost for the most features that you need. Then we think about how are we going to capture and list build? I think the option a lot of people think of most right now is social media. And again, we talked about this a little bit in the week where we discussed why people would want to join your list. But what I tend to see organizations doing is putting a blanket call on social media to sign up for email updates. And we don't see that converting people very frequently. So what we want to do is try that more targeted approach where we are approaching it from what are you going to gain? So again, going back to that recipe share that I keep using, that client will share a picture a few days before the recipe share is going to go out, right? And so you can share a picture of that winning recipe and say, it's Tuesday. On Friday, we're sending out the recipe for this week's winning dish. If you want to get this week's winning dish recipe, make sure you're subscribed by Friday, right? That is a much more engaging, tantalizing way to get people to sign up for your email list, right? So teasing something that's coming up that you're about to share is a great way to do it. I also use the example of the organization that helps parents fight getting their kids on a smartphone. They're always sharing, hey, here's a tip for reducing your personal cell phone usage. Modeling that behavior, not always being on your cell phone, is a great way to keep your kids off their smartphones and their screens and devices. So, sign up for our email list for more tips like this, right? So on social media, we really, again, want to prove the value that people are going to get when they sign up for the email list. So we're giving them little mini previews of what they'll get if they're on our email list. That's a great way to grow your email list on social media. One thing I see organizations underutilizing is getting people to sign up for their email list when they're on site. I used to work for an art house cinema, and we would have at the ticket booth, we had an email sign-in sheet. So if people wanted to make sure they were getting the latest news from our organization, getting the weekly show times, they could put their email address on there. And I see a lot of people reverting to QR codes these days. I don't find that putting QR codes around your site works. I find that the old-fashioned pen, paper, and a clipboard is the most effective way of getting people to sign up for your email list still. Also via programming, making sure that when people come, maybe even if it's a free event, a free workshop, something like that, we want people to give us their email address when they're coming in and on site. So make sure that anytime you're doing programming, even if people don't have to register for your programming, make sure you're capturing email addresses when you're doing that. I've had clients say, well, we had 100 people at the event. How many emails did you get? Oops. Right? That was a missed opportunity. The last thing I really love and recommend for list build, which I don't see a lot of organizations doing, is tabling. Taking opportunities at festivals, farmers markets, things like that to get out into the community and build your email list. Now, a couple ways I don't recommend that you grow your email list. Don't buy email lists. Don't trade email lists. Don't share your lists in exchange for other organizations' lists. We don't get donors that way. Donors come because they trust us. Donors come because they were interested in our mission. Donors come because they are excited about the work that we're doing. So when you buy a list or trade a list with another nonprofit, you're actually undermining donor trust. You're giving people a reason not to trust you right from the jump. So don't buy lists, don't trade lists, don't share your lists. Yeah? All right, your homework this week. Where are you going to build your list? What platform? Are you going to grow where you're planted, or do you need something additional? So where are you going to build your list, and how? What are some of the main strategies that you think will work to meet with the audience that you're trying to reach? And again, here, I talk about this all the time, but don't talk to the general public. When you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So really think about who makes a great donor to my organization. Why are people bought in? What life experiences have they had that make them inclined to support my organization? And so go there, go to where those people are hanging out to build your list. So for some organizations, a farmer's market is a great idea. For other organizations, that's not where your audience is, or it's not a niche down audience enough, right? So think about that a lot. Where are you going to build your list? What tech platform is going to support your goals? And then how are you going to build your list? What ways are going to be most effective to reach the people you're trying to reach? I'll meet you here next week, and we're going to talk about welcome series and how to treat people once they're on your email list. Want to make this work even easier? I have a template that has a lot of the elements we're talking about building out, just ready for you to customize. Go to fromscratchfundraising.com/email to download the template right now.
Now go make the world a better place.